that you do it on purpose. Sing like a singing on key. Talk to the girl that intimidates you. Pretend that you're brilliant and charming. I said pretend that you're brilliant and charming. Hey!
Yes, everybody, welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. Later with Jason Suel. Welcome to the show, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for being here. We got a great show lined up for you. I'm excited. I know the band is excited. We're going to be visiting with Jules Taylor, filmmaker Jules Taylor. Won the Fayetteville Film Prize at the Fayetteville Film Fest last year. Has now produced a short film, and we're going to be chatting with her all about that. You got to stick around for our musical guest as well, because the band Wells is joining us. Wells, Jesse Wells Band. I know, look at his face. He can't even believe it. That's right. Jesse of our very own Later band has his own band called Wells, and they're on the show coming up a little bit later. And then down there at our chef's table, we've got the one and only Betsy Rawlings from Fayetteville Athletic Club, adding a little bit of health to our cuisine today. Betsy, what do we got going on?
We're making pumpkin chili.
Man, that sounds amazing, Betsy. I can't wait to join you down there at Chef's Table a little bit later. But right now, man, we need more social media in our life. So we've got our social media expert standing by, Instagram Paul, with a little advice for you. Stick around for that. And then we got all the fun. It's happening later.
Instagram Paul here. How you doing? I'm back. Welcome to season 11. Later with Jason Suel. We got some fun stuff to talk about today. Have you noticed the weather? Very interesting stuff. Well, I'm here to answer your hard questions and tell you about new technology that's going on in the world. Noodling and Googling and Twitter. And a lot of people were making fun of Twitter and calling it different names. And so I think X, everybody knows what an X is. A lot of people did not know how to spell Twitter. That's what I heard on social. Yes, you know, I had that turtle. I had that turtle a long time that I've fed the strawberries to by hand, taught him how to do that. Got a big rat, big old rat in the house now that comes around. He's pretty fun. All the dogs under the house, under the porch. Got so many dogs. I love the cats. Some cats don't even have names, they just run around. Don't name them all, but lots of pets. They get thirsty, you gotta give them water. I found that out. Good talking to you. Thanks for listening. Remember, be in the moment. Be still and be in the moment. Don't make a lot of noise. Bye. See you later. Hey, make the world know you're here, though.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got the lovely Jules Taylor joining me. Thanks for being here, Jules.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Always
Is this
great
my
to see
mic?
you. That's your mic. Check, check, check.
Check, check. Sibilance.
Yeah, I don't know. It might not be on. They cut me off all the time, so who knows. Jules, you do so many things in the community. You're everywhere doing everything. You always have been ever since I moved here. But specifically, recently, we're going to hone in on one thing that you did. Because last year, take us back to the moment when you pitched and won the Fayetteville Film Prize, which for our viewers who don't know, gets you funding or some seed money to be able to create a short film, which is then shown at the next year's Fayetteville Film Fest. And you did that this year. So talk us through that pitch that you gave.
First of all, I didn't have anything ready.
Yeah.
And I saw something on Facebook that said, okay, this is your last chance. You have 1 week to register.
Okay.
And I had been wanting to do it for years, so I was like, I'm doing it. And I made myself register, but I didn't really have anything at all.
You made yourself register because sometimes
that's right.
That gets you over the hump.
Boom. And then a bunch of stuff happened, and I kind of found some writing that I had done like 20 years ago, tried to add some stuff to it, make a story, and that was my story that I was coming into the pitch with. But what really clinched it was going to the workshop, the pitch workshop that Chris and Nick from Bonsai Creative do, when they come here, you know, some of the judges for the pitch contest.
Sure.
And they do this workshop, you know, like an hour-long workshop. And the information is the way, not only what it is, but the way it's presented was just great.
Yeah.
And I took as many notes as I could. And then I went home that night and recrafted all of it, as specific as I could get to what they were talking about. And
then the next day you pitched, right?
the next day we pitched, and we pitched like in the morning. I think there were maybe 15, 17, something like that. We went in one at a time and pitched for a panel of 5 judges.
Okay.
And it was so nerve-wracking.
I'm sure, yes.
It was
And coming from
amazing.
you, that's interesting to hear because you've stood on the stage in front of hundreds of people before, but 5 people, all eyes on you, giving a pitch about something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you won.
And then I won
Yeah.
that night, and it was amazing, and I was totally thrilled and exuberant, and then I went, boom, all right, and now go. Got
Right,
to
I
make
know.
a big old movie. Got 1 year, lots of people, you know, counting on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's one of the requirements if you win that,
That's
that
right.
you're going to screen it the following year.
That's right.
Which you just had the successful screening here at the
Yes.
Fayetteville Film Fest, which happened in October. But Jules, what was that process like for you, coming from the acting world and being a theater director?
Right.
Now you're director of a movie.
Right.
What was that transition like?
Well, you know, I always thought I've done theater, you know, since like yourself.
Before time.
Before time began.
Yes.
And, you know, it's always seemed like the most beautiful team effort. And it is. It absolutely is.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
creating a movie, the team that it takes and the pieces of that are enormous.
Right.
And lots of different kinds of pieces and
it's
kinds
almost
of
like
professionals.
you take it and you put it in a laser beam focus, right? Because like if theater, you have weeks to do this show and you get it wrong one night, well, you'll get it right the next night. With this, it's like, it's go time.
Exactly. That's a great point. And then on the other side of the coin, the other thing that's really I really love is that also theater, when the show's over, it's over and tis done.
Yeah, tis done. Yes.
Tis done.
Yes.
But this, I'm so, you know, I can look at it and I can watch it and I can share it. I can share it with my family in Texas that, you know, aren't able to
Right.
come here to see. So that's a kind of a cool thing. That I
Yeah,
love.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a bonus. Well, fill us in. I think we've been talking around it and kind
Okay.
of giving some behind the scenes, but what is the movie about?
It's called In a World Full of Loneliness. And it centers around a character named Mrs. Kennett. And Mrs. Kennett suffered a loss in her life that caused her to battle this life that becomes so routine and isolated. And she kind of goes through the same thing all the time until she witnesses an act of violence that, boom, causes her to react like she has never done. And she connects to this mom and her daughter. And from there, she is introduced to another group of people. And through this one night,
Sure.
Mrs. Kennett's heart changes
Yeah.
by witnessing the connection amongst the family, like the unconditional love. Plus, they also bring her in. It's just a story of embracing and, you know, laughing with each other.
Sure,
and-
crying with each other,
Absolutely.
and all those things are important. Building community, and that's another thing you did is kind of beef up and build the community here in Northwest Arkansas that got behind this film project. If they were a part of it, if they were in it, even if they were just kind of connected to it in some way, or if they were working as members of the crew, you put a great team together
we
for
did.
that.
We
Talk to us
did.
about that kind of community appeal and how that is also true to your heart, because I know it is.
Aw,
I know it
appreciate
is, Jules.
It would start all the way back from like the day after I won. And so my co-producer is the fabulous Dan Robinson.
Of course, yes.
And so he and I started meeting once a week since I won, like all year.
Right,
And
okay.
planning. But it started with Dan and I both kind of coming from the same place of saying, we want to create a team and an environment when we shoot on the set that is just calm and kind.
Because I've been on those other sets that are hectic And
get that way.
right, I know the tensions run high on those sets.
Also, what you're saying, I mean, you're in that moment, and you're like, I got to get at this
yeah,
now.
right, yes.
And but we did. So we put a lot of thought into that, and we curated a team.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a beautiful team, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And it was a beautiful shoot, and that really shows when you watch the film, I think. But because I won I don't think it would never have happened without winning the fest. The movie would have never been made without winning that prize.
That is important to say. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that film, I know that you might not have a clear idea of where you're headed with this next, but is it going to have a festival run? Are you going to be submitting to festivals?
Submitting.
Okay.
So just like, so I'm going to start that process really soon and start just getting out there and submitting. One thing very early on when we were making the budget, we knew that we wanted to have a film fest budget.
Sure.
Because, you got to submit and submit, and maybe you'll get selected for a film fest.
Absolutely. And then who knows, somebody might see it and might be like, you know what, I really like what Jules did with this movie. Let's partner with her on.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
That's the dream, right?
Right.
One of the things I really admire about you, and I think that we all try to do this, some of us just say we're going to do it and then don't really follow through, but that is the fact that you learned something new. Right? A lot of people are like, you know what, I'm set, I'm good, I don't need to do anything else. But you transitioned your skills into a whole new environment and made a movie, and became a director and had to learn all this new stuff and working with new people and working as a director for a movie, just different than what you've done before. So that's admirable, I think. Was that hard for you?
There were some moments of it that maybe were challenging and some things that happened that were unexpected, but that's everything, right? But mostly it was absolutely exhilarating.
Yeah.
And some challenges did pop up and arise that we weren't expecting, but it was a really great thing. I am almost 60, and so
You don't look a day over 23, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
And thank you, Jason. If I don't look a day over 23, you don't look a day over 13, my friend.
Yes, teenage talk show host. That's what I always wanted to be.
So I am in a place in my life where I kind of am almost in I feel like I'm in the second part of my life now.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to start something new, and I am ready for the second part of my life right now, and this is something new that I found. And one thing that I was really scared of coming in, and I didn't think I would have anything to do with the editing. I mean, I was really scared of editing.
Sure, yeah, I can understand.
There's like such a huge learning curve with that process.
Absolutely.
And I just find technology can be so excruciating for
tedious and
myself.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I wasn't going to put myself into that position, but I kind of did feel like I needed to, I could express myself better with what I was seeing in my mind if I could in any way roughly edit something together.
Yeah.
So I just said, I gotta start.
Yeah.
Or it'll never happen.
Right.
At least you got to start.
You got to start somewhere, sure.
And I just found a real aptitude towards it. I had learned a little bit of basic editing on some like VHS kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
So I had a great aptitude. Plus I was doing it at Fayetteville Public Television, and I had Dan and Flint and YK, the other staff who just, they just were helping me so much. And so, but I found that I loved that, and I ended up doing my own director's cut, really, to send to my final editor who really polished it all up.
Yeah.
But that was an amazing skill that I had no idea I was going to find.
Learning stuff new. I hope you out there, our viewers, are finding new passions as well. Give us the name of the film again one more time, Jules.
In a World Full of Loneliness.
In a World Full of Loneliness. There are going to be more screenings in Northwest Arkansas, so you can see this. Also, look Jules up on all the social media. She's always sharing great stuff about that. Best of luck in your festival run. I'm sure you're going to get not only submitted, but screened at festivals, so we're looking forward to hearing a great report from you.
Thanks, Jace.
Absolutely. Stick around. We got more coming up later.
Our musical guest is brought to you by the debut season of The Comedy Zone at Walton Arts Center.
Fix your coffee, just get over in the cut. I'm just trying to get a roll up in. You can wait your dough. You can check your folks. Study Shakespeare. Cause we know. You can wait to do. You can check your boat. Study Shakespeare. Ah, does it down. You can feel your mind. Have $1 dime. Think of the trend. Never wonder why.
Yes, everybody, welcome back. We're down here at the chef's table with Betsy. Betsy from FAC, an instructor there, and you're taking us to kind of a healthy level today with a lot of the foods we might love to enjoy with those cooler temperatures out there. I know we've got some chili here, which is delicious.
Yes.
So how do we take that to the next level and make it healthy, Betsy?
So, not just chili. Today we are going to make pumpkin chili.
Pumpkin chili?
Pumpkin chili.
Okay.
It's the time of year where pumpkin is in everything.
Totally.
So
Yes.
why not replace your meat with pumpkin? Now that said, if you want to put meat in here too, some ground turkey replaces ground beef perfectly. You can even use lentils, gives you that great meaty texture. However, we have roasted our pumpkin.
Okay.
Now you're going to want to use a pie pumpkin. You don't really want to use the one you just carved, though you can.
Okay, okay.
The bigger ones are going to be watery. They have less flavor. So we're going to use these cute little guys that you use to decorate your house with,
Okay,
right?
got it. Yes.
Cut it in half, pull the seeds out, stick it in the oven for a little while. It's going to roast. It's going to start to get soft.
Yes.
And it's going to look like what you have here.
Right, okay.
So then you're just going to cut it up into chunks. You're going to be careful to take the rind off. You don't want to eat the rind, but get as much of that meat out as you can.
Can't believe I just did that.
You chunked it right on up great.
Okay, so you chunked it right on up great. I feel like you should coin that phrase.
Totally should. Trademark.
Yes, so you've got pumpkin in here. You can add meat if
Yes.
you want to, but you can just use the pumpkin
Just
as it is.
use the pumpkin. And then you add your beans and you actually add pumpkin puree.
Okay.
Right? So this is going to give the chili some more thickness.
Yeah.
It's going to add a little bit more of that pumpkin flavor because this is going to stay in its cubed form. So you're going to taste it when you bite it, but you want the pumpkin to be kind of throughout it.
Okay. And then you, to go with it, you brought
Yes.
some bread options, right?
I brought some bread options. You can always slice up. This is a great opportunity to use that day-old bread
Right.
that you can find at the store.
Yes.
Or crackers are always great with it. We like to use the bread because
I love
it's
the
a
bread.
great
Yes,
little
great
spoon.
dipping. And you brought some cheese there.
Top it with some cheese,
Yeah.
with some avocado. You can use cheddar. You can use goat cheese. You can use jalapenos. You can chop up some red onion.
Yeah.
You can chop up some red bell pepper. All of that stuff adds just a little bit more to it.
You've got brownies down there, but those brownies,
Brownies.
great way to finish off the meal. But these are
Yes.
healthy. Talk to us about what you put in those brownies.
We've gone from spicy, so we want to go rich and decadent.
Of course.
Right? And when it comes to chocolate.
my nickname in college.
I love that. Okay. So we have made these brownies. You would have no idea that these brownies are only about 100 calories a serving.
What?
Right?
Is one of those chunks a serving? Considered a serving?
Now, one of these chunks is a serving.
Okay,
and this
wow.
brownie is so rich
Yeah.
that you're only going to want one chunk. I'm going to set one over here.
Yeah, set it over here. Can I do a little taste test?
You have your
I
little
feel like
brownie.
Yes.
You're not going to taste the Greek yogurt at all. It's just going to taste like a rich, fudgy brownie.
It does.
I have used non-dairy chocolate, so I've pulled some of the dairy out, the dairy fats
Ooh,
out.
that's good.
You
That's
can also
dark.
use
It is decadent.
a reduced sugar chocolate. If you're using dark chocolate, it's going to have less sugar in it anyway, and the flavor is richer. The richer the flavor, the less you need to eat to feel full. Super easy. Melt some chocolate, mix in some Greek yogurt, cocoa powder, flour, little baking soda. Add your chocolate chips in. I've put walnuts.
I was gonna say, you put some nuts in there,
I
yeah.
put some walnuts in there, and my secret here is I put just a pinch of cinnamon in there
Ooh.
and just a pinch of salt in there. It brings out that chocolate flavor.
Yeah, the
Now we're
pumpkin.
gonna have some pumpkin.
Yes, so let's do that. Let's get this in there, serve it up. Let's do 2 servings here, because you need some too. You
Yes,
worked
I gotta
hard
have
on
some
this.
too.
You should go celebrate
Right?
with a bite.
This stuff is so good, y'all. And then you top it off with anything you want to add
Yeah.
to it. Crackers, cheese, goat cheese. Use your
Bread,
bread
some
spoon. You
dipping.
need your little bread spoon here.
Yeah, of course. Bread spoon.
Right?
I like that. Yeah.
A spoon doesn't have to be a spoon. You just use the
bread, right. All right,
I
I say we keep eating this as we kick it to break right now, and then we'll come back and
Absolutely.
see how well we did on the other side.
Sounds good
Let's
to
do
me.
it. Stick around. We got more coming up later. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Remember, you can find us out there on your social media platforms or send us an email over at laterwithjasonsuel.com. And before we leave, we got to thank our guests, including the one and only Jules Taylor. We got Betsy bringing us all the food. Thanks for that, Betsy. And how about that music video curated by our friends right here at Fayetteville Public Television from Wells, and then our social media correspondent, Instagram Pa. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.